Hey guys, Joe here for story time. Settle in for this one because I'm going to give you the most comprehensive, long-winded, and extremely detailed story of my entire career. Okay, first, let's go back, like way back, just to tell you exactly how little experience I had in just about anything related to voice acting. I did precisely 2 school plays in my entire life, once when I was 12 and then once when I was 17. That's it. That's all the acting experience my entire life before I started earning money at age 28 as a voice actor in my basement. There was only one other thing in my life that even sort of predicted using my voice as my career, which was me acting as a master of ceremonies every once in a while during my tenure at the United States Air Force Academy, which was basically me reading the same script once a month or so for a couple of years, announcing football games or parades. Guys, I hate to tell you, but that's the extent of my pedigree. I didn't go to school for acting or fine arts, and I didn't live in Los Angeles or New York. I was so far removed from acting in any capacity that my transition is almost comical, and so many people think I'm joking when I tell them my story. All right, let's skip ahead to 2012. I just moved to Virginia after separating from the United States Air Force, where I'd spent all of my adult life. I was 27 and settling into a job working as a government contractor, doing some similar things as to what I was doing in the Air Force. Although I was no longer on active duty, I did remain in the reserves, which is a fairly common thing for folks to do so they can remain connected, keep their security clearance, work towards their retirement, and have a backup plan in case their civilian careers don't work out. About 5 months after I moved to Virginia, I had one of those reservist days, which occur on the weekends. Since I was attached to an active duty unit, not a reserve unit, the rest of the airmen were gone for the weekend. I was literally the only one in the office with not that much to do. And so, like anyone bored in the office, I was chatting with a friend online. I casually mentioned to him that I'd always been interested in voice acting. In my head, I'm thinking anime, games, cartoons, because I was and still am a massive nerd. He, being in marketing, mentioned that his company used to hire people to do voice work from this website called voices.com. And that maybe I should give it a shot. That's it. That's the inciting incident. I casually mentioned something to a friend, and the world completely turned around on the head of a pin. I'll remember that conversation for the rest of my life. I've been a musician since I was little, and I had dabbled many times in recording myself playing music. I had, the previous year, won a competition held at Overclocked Remix, which is an online collection of video game remixes run by a bunch of uber nerds, where I'm actually now on staff as a judge. And I had, as part of my prize, received an MXL 990991 microphone. Later on that weekend, I went online, went to voices.com, signed up for a cheap membership. They had monthly payment options at the time, and my investment was, I think, maybe $100. I'm not totally sure. I found a job on there from someone looking to record a cartoon voice for an educational game he was developing. This game had a fairly unique requirement that was a good fit for me. It was a low-paying, entry-level voice acting job requiring rudimentary knowledge of modern standard Arabic, which I had minored in college. He was paying $100, which seemed insane to me at the time, as it was multiple times my hourly wage at work. This was miraculously the first job I ever auditioned for, and equally as miraculously, the first job I ever booked. It didn't seem real. Someone paid me real money to act like a cartoon panda. It took me 15 minutes to do, and it paid me $100? That's $400 an hour, 10 times what I was making from the government. I was faced with one burning question. How can I do that again? Over the next several months, I dove in with reckless abandon, auditioning for literally every job on the website, every day. New jobs were posting constantly, so I was constantly in the basement with my microphone, trying to figure out how to read scripts, what these clients were looking for, and scooping up whatever feedback and experience I could, tweaking my profile, buying new equipment. I reached out to the voices.com staff, who offered me a higher tier membership on the site, which included some consultations from the website itself on how to build my profile and what the hell I was doing in general, because I had absolutely no clue at all. I cannot emphasize that enough. I pressed on. After feeling comfortable with voices.com, I moved on to Voice123, and with those 2 sites, I was pretty much 100% maxed out on audition opportunities. I was already starting to burn out. I was coming home from my day job at this point at 5 p.m. and working until 10 p.m. nearly every night, and I just had my first kid. Obviously, my level of exhaustion and stress were high, but the math was right there in front of me. I could be free of my day job really, really soon if I could refine my process and up my booking percentage, audition for more jobs, and then turn them around faster. We're already talking about hundreds of auditions a week, sometimes as high as 80 a day. Suddenly, I was making 4 figures a month, which is really only a couple jobs. $1,000 goes a long way in voice acting equipment, and it really wasn't long before I was purchasing top-of-the-line industry standard equipment that I would later see in huge Los Angeles studios. 8 months into doing this, sometime in the late fall of 2013, I looked at my spreadsheet and I realized that I was very nearly out-earning my government salary. I'd started collecting steady clients who would come back to me, and my increase in equipment quality and seemingly limitless audition opportunities allowed me to book better work and more of it, increase my rates closer to industry standards, and navigate the industry with more savvy and confidence. But I was so exhausted that it was becoming hard to cope. I was sleeping terrible, up with the baby, stressed out, and still adjusting to my life out of the military less than a year after joining the civilian sector as a government contractor. Let me tell you, that transition is not easy. So I approached my boss in January 2014 and basically said that something had to give. And after some wise counseling and a good chat, we agreed that I would go part-time while I got my feet under me in my new career. At this point, I was essentially full-time as a voice actor, and the government became my side job. A very smooth, if tiring, transition that I recommend all of you try to finagle if you can do it. That stable job allowed me to approach voice acting totally different from the starving artist who showed up in Los Angeles without a dime to his name and was forced to wait on tables. I hope listening to this story has been inspiring, grounding, and educational. Thank you all so much for trusting me with your careers, and I can't wait to see you someday telling your own story.